The new Zip app accurately predicts the outcome of the New Hampshire primary, and it's just 4 months old and already has more than 100,000 users engaging every day. Technology consultant Francie Black is here with us to explain. That's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive. And just to compare Zip to Twitter, so when Twitter was 4 months old, it had about 5,000 tweets a day. So Zip, which is 4 months old, has about 100,000 people answering questions every day. So
wow.
Pretty impressive. And this was actually a really big deal that this actually accurately predicted the New Hampshire primary, or caucus, I should say. So people post questions and answers, and one was, who will win the New Hampshire caucus? And it accurately, those Zip users responded, and the results were actually what happened. So it's kind of like this unbiased polling, and it's all done completely anonymous. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not letting people know who you are.
No, and people who answer, you don't know who answers either. That's the big key of this whole thing. So people can pose questions, people respond, but nobody knows who's answering. You could be famous. You could be a famous actress and posing a question, and a housewife could be answering it. You don't know. So it allows.
So instead of just putting information out there like Twitter, it's more of a question-answer type.
It is completely question-answer, and gets rid of a lot of bias is what happens because it is anonymous. You don't know who it's coming from or who's answering. So
okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
So it's really interesting. So the way that you go in, you can either do two things: you ask a question or you answer a question. Pretty straightforward. Now we're going to go in and answer some questions, but before we do that, we're actually going to look at some categories. So you want to answer questions maybe about beauty. Maybe you want to answer them about entertainment or business or art and design. So you select your.
Now, you don't have to really know anything about these, though, either.
No, you're not.
Okay.
No,
you don't have to be an expert. So be careful if this is where you're going for all your information.
It's opinion, input, just feedback is really what it is. And sometimes it's serious, and sometimes it's not so serious. So take a guess at what the most popular.
Pets and animals.
Close.
Relationships and dating. I can do pets and animals.
Very good. And then politics is also very popular as well, of course. So let's go in. We're going to actually start answering some questions. Now, I have no idea what questions are going to be asked right now. So I picked health and fitness, I picked politics, I picked business. So our first question is, do you exercise for an hour 5 times a week? So more or less. I'm going to say more. Okay. And it gives me the results immediately and says, hey, 78% say less, some say more.
Okay, that's probably pretty accurate too.
Right, and there's 12 hours left in that particular Zip question, okay? And then you just swipe for the next one, Sanders or Trump, okay? So I'm going to pick one here. Now, if I want to follow this, it says right now 54% of people are saying Trump. Now, I can say notify me when this is settled, and so I can tap that so I can track the ongoing results of that particular question.
Okay, so something that you may be interested in following back up on.
Exactly, exactly. And then you can just swipe and get to the next question. And if you have an issue going on at work, will you let your boss know or stay quiet? So what do you do? So it's all kinds of questions all about life. So, yeah, so we can go back here, and so if you want to see what questions that you're following, so here's my followed questions. I can click on those, and you can see all the questions that you followed so that you can keep track and say, hey, I want to know what the result was at. And a lot of things are very personal even, you know, about relationships and so forth. Now, if you want to pose a question, maybe you want to get some feedback. So you go back here and say, ask questions.
Okay.
Yep, and actually, let's see. Ask a question and post your question. There's always 2 answers, nothing more, nothing less.
Okay.
Select your category, your time limit for responses.
You can do your own polling.
And you can do your own polling. Completely anonymous, all great feedback. And just to give you some ideas of just some of the things that people are asking beyond what we saw, because I didn't know what was going to come up. Things like, you know, do you watch the Kardashians? I love it, I hate it. Just pick it, it's 80% right now is I hate it. If you had extra money, would you invest it in stocks or would you gamble? So it's a lot about social profiling, answering arguments, things like that. Great way to settle arguments. Try it out. I've got the links down at ipadwisdom.com, and if you're interested in the monthly free Tech Tips newsletter, send me an email.
Yep, so you could also get Francie's information at the Tech Time section of WLOS.